world never expected this. The one thing no one thought possible had happened. Sonic the Hedgehog was gone. And with him, the last hope for freedom had vanished. But how? And what happens to a world without its fastest hero? It all started with one final battle. Eggman had grown tired of losing and devised his most dangerous creation yet, the Omega Paradox. A machine fueled by the Chaos Emeralds, capable of rewriting reality itself. Sonic, along with Tails, Knuckles, and Shadow, stormed Eggman's fortress, a massive steel monolith towering above the ruined landscape of West Polis. The sky was a deep crimson, swirling with storm clouds, as if the world itself sensed the coming disaster. Sonic raced ahead, dodging laser turrets, leaping over collapsing platforms. The wind roared past him, the sound of his own heartbeat drowning out the chaos behind him. He had fought Eggman 1,000 times before, but this was different. Inside the control chamber, Eggman grinned wickedly. "You're too late, rodent. This time, there's no escape." With a single press of a button, the Omega Paradox activated. The machine pulsed with unnatural energy, pulling at the fabric of reality. Sonic lunged forward, Chaos Emerald in hand, aiming to destroy the core before it was too late. But in that moment, something went wrong. As Sonic leaped, a massive energy surge erupted. Tails screamed, "Sonic, no!" But it was too late. The energy blast struck Sonic midair, his body freezing as the chaos energy coursed through him. For the first time in his life, Sonic wasn't moving forward, he was falling. He hit the ground with a dull thud, his fur singed, his eyes barely open. Knuckles and Shadow rushed to his side. Hey, guys, we still won, right?" Sonic weakly grinned, coughing, but the moment his eyes fluttered shut, the world went silent. Sonic the Hedgehog, the hero of Mobius, was dead. The impact of his death was immediate. Without Sonic, Eggman seized control faster than anyone could react. Cities fell, resistance crumbled, hope shattered. Tails became obsessed with trying to bring Sonic back. He spent days without sleep, searching for a way to reverse the chaos energy, but there was nothing left of Sonic to save. Knuckles, consumed with guilt, abandoned his duty to guard the Master Emerald and became a lone warrior, fighting Eggman's forces in the shadow. Shadow, who always considered Sonic his rival, felt something he never expected: emptiness. He had spent years trying to prove himself better than Sonic, and now he wished he had just one more race against him. The world, once vibrant with Sonic's energy, became a dark and desolate place. Mobius without Sonic was like a sky without the sun. But in the darkest hour, a small spark of hope remained. The world had changed without Sonic. Eggman's rule spread like a disease, turning once thriving cities into lifeless, mechanical wastelands. Mobius lived in fear, their spirits crushed. The sky was darker, choked by the smoke of Eggman's war machines. And then the whispers began, a prophecy, a legend older than time itself. It was spoken in hushed voices passed down through ancient texts. The hero of the wind shall not be bound by fate. Tails, overwhelmed with grief, clung to that whisper like a drowning man to driftwood. If there was even a chance to bring Sonic back, he had to take it. He locked himself away in his lab, combing through every old scroll, every data file, every legend that spoke of bending time. Days turned into weeks. Tails barely ate. His fur was matted, his eyes bloodshot. He ignored Knuckles' pleas to rest. He ignored Amy's quiet sobs, still holding on to the last picture she had of Sonic. And then he found it. Deep in the archives of Angel Island, hidden beneath the Master Emerald's shrine, lay an ancient artifact forgotten by time itself, the Chrono Emerald. Unlike the Chaos Emeralds, this one pulsed with a strange energy, glowing faintly as if trapped between past and future. Inscribed on its surface were words in a language only the ancients could understand. But Tails didn't need a translation. He knew what it meant. One wish, one change, one sacrifice. The price was clear: Someone had to give up everything to set time right. Tails' hands trembled as he cradled the emerald. Could he do it? Could he really bring Sonic back? Or was he playing with forces beyond his control? As he stood there, Knuckles and Shadow arrived. They had followed him, their faces grim. Knuckles folded his arms. "This is dangerous, Tails. You don't know what messing with time could do." Tails clenched his fists. "What other choice do we have? We let Sonic die, and look what happened. The world is falling apart." Shadow, silent until now, stepped forward. His red eyes locked onto the glowing emerald, his face unreadable. Then, finally, he spoke. "I'll do it." Tails turned in shock. "What? No, Shadow, you don't have to." "I do." His voice was steady. "I was created to be the ultimate life form. But he was the real hero. I spent my whole life trying to prove I was better than Sonic. And now, I realize, I just wanted to be like him. If there's even a chance to bring him back, I'll take it. No way. We've lost too much already. If we mess with time, we could lose even more." Shadow didn't waver. He placed a hand on the emerald, his fingers tightening around its surface. "There's nothing left to lose." Tails swallowed hard. His voice was barely a whisper. "You know what this means, right? If you do this, you might not come back." Shadow smirked slightly. Wouldn't be the first time." Tails hesitated, his heart pounding, but deep down he knew this was the only way. He lifted the Chrono Emerald. It pulsed, as if sensing their desperation. Then, as Tails activated it, the emerald shattered the air itself. A deafening hum filled the shrine, and the world around them began to warp. The past began to rewrite itself. A vortex of swirling blue and gold light erupted from the emerald, pulling Shadow into its center. His body shimmered, flickering between timelines as reality bent to his will. The last thing Tails saw before Shadow vanished was the faintest trace of a smile on his face. And then, he was gone. Tails and Knuckles were left standing in silence. The Chrono Emerald lay on the ground, now dark and lifeless. And somewhere, across the fabric of time itself, Shadow raced towards the past. Shadow awoke in the past, just moments before Sonic's fatal leap. Time was frozen. He had one shot. Racing forward, faster than ever before, Shadow tackled Sonic mid-air, pushing him out of the blast's path. The energy surged around them, distorting reality. The world shook. History was being rewritten. And then, everything went white. Sonic gasped for air, his lungs burning as if he had just run 1,000 miles. His heart pounded like a drum, the echoes of his own demise still lingering in his mind. But he was back. He blinked, trying to make sense of his surroundings. The acrid scent of smoke filled his nostrils, and the distant hum of machinery crackled in the air. He was standing in the ruins of what had once been Eggman's final weapon, the very machine that had ended his life before. But now, it was nothing more than a wreckage of twisted metal, shattered circuits, and sparking wires. The battle was over, and they had won. A sudden cry broke through the haze. "Sonic!" Tails. The young fox dashed toward him, his twin tails whipping behind him. His eyes were wide, tears streaming down his face. He had fought battles alongside Sonic for years, but never had he looked so utterly overwhelmed. So relieved. Sonic barely had time to react before Tails threw his arms around him, holding on as if he feared his best friend might disappear again. "You're okay. I thought we lost you forever." Sonic, still dazed, managed a small, familiar grin. "Hey, come on, buddy. You really think I'd just leave you hanging?" Tails laughed, a sound mixed with relief and disbelief before pulling away to look at him. "Shadow, he saved you. He gave up everything to bring you back." Sonic's smile faltered. His gaze lifted past Tails, scanning the battlefield. That's when he saw him. Shadow. He stood at the edge of the ruined fortress, half shrouded in the rising mist. His red eyes, always sharp, now held something deeper. something that Sonic had never seen in him before: peace. Shadow gave a small nod, a silent acknowledgement, a farewell. Then, without a word, he turned and stepped into the shadows, his form fading as the last remnants of the Chrono Emerald's power whisked him away. Sonic opened his mouth to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, he just stood there, watching as Shadow disappeared, knowing that this time, he wouldn't be coming back. A heavy silence settled over the battlefield. Around them, the Resistance fighters, Knuckles, Amy, Rouge, and the others began to gather, their faces reflecting a mixture of exhaustion, disbelief, and hope. Knuckles approached, crossing his arms. "You had us scared for a second there, Blue Boy." Amy stepped forward, her voice soft. "We thought we lost you." Sonic exhaled, his mind still trying to process everything. He flexed his fingers, feeling the life coursing through him once more. A second chance. A chance not given to him by luck, but by the ones who refused to let him go. Sonic looked up at the sky, the sun breaking through the storm clouds for the first time in what felt like forever. The world had been saved, not by him alone, but by the ones who had fought for him, who had believed in him. A small breeze ruffled his quills, and for a brief moment, he swore he could still hear Shadow's voice. "Make it count, Faker," Sonic smirked. He would, because heroes don't just die, they live on, in the hearts of those they inspire.